I am so done with winter 2023. It is a whopping 50-something here in the hobby cave, and, well, we're going to get this video done, regardless. Trying something a little new today. We're going to do some hands and face and a little bit more camera time. It was just getting awkward talking to long pauses on, stills of videos and things, so maybe change up the intro a little bit here or pop in here and there in the video. Just try to break it up a little bit. So if you love it, hate it, could care less, comment, but we're going to try it. Would like to say kudos to Mood Publishing for this game. I know there's a lot of rumbling about shipping and when am I getting it. Talking to you, FedEx, you've had it 2 weeks on a truck with no updates. What the heck? But regardless, in light of all the Kickstarters I've done, Darkest Dungeon, shipping fees, Blacklist games, let's not even get started on that, though I did get my Fantasy Series 1. The fact that we're able to get the STL files ahead of time and print them out for kind of the noob painter that I am. You know, I've only been mini painting a couple years. It was a pandemic hobby. This is great because it gives us an opportunity to print out some extras, experiment, throw some different color schemes on there before you touch the actual nice models in box. So I am very appreciative of that fact. This is the first time I've had a board game publisher do something like this, and I hope more will step up and do this down the road. But enough rambling. Let's get on to it.
Macteras, a whole load of them, heading your way. Get ready.
Stone and rock! Oh, wait.
Welcome back. This is episode 13 of the How to Paint Deep Rock Galactic board game series. That is a mouthful. Today we're going to focus on the Macteras. There's that Mactera Spawn, the little dude. There is very little to this guy. And I did a few of the Goo Bomber variations. So I'm going to break it out as always. The description will have the bookmarks, to each bug, the colors along the way, all that stuff. So if you're someone who wants to skip around, which analytics tell me most people are just doing that, they don't want to listen to me ramble and hear my cheesy loop music, I don't understand. But that stuff will all be in the description as always. So here we go. We're going to start out with some Gravelord Grey on that whole back carapace on the first Goo Bomber. For the wings, we're going to go with Plasmatic Bolt and some Magic Blue Army Painter Speedpaints. Combine a drop of each together, or 1-to-1 ratio, depending on how much you need. For the main part of the body under the carapace, the underside, everything but the bags of goo, I went with a 2-to-1 Pallid Bone to Zealot Yellow. And as you'll see with my touch of the ADHD, I sometimes jump around a little, so apologies to that. It's just how my brain goes. It's why I'm the hopeless hobby addict. So many hobbies, so many scattered brain thoughts, and so little time. So I take the old wet brush reactivation trick here to try to highlight up some of those spots on the Carapace. You'll kind of see how they get lighter on the screen there, but that is something I commonly try to do with speed paints, is take advantage of that highlighting effect along edges, you know, armor edges, or whatever it is. You can lighten it up a little bit with reactivation, dab your brush off on a paper towel as you go to suck that color back out and keep it just clean with water, and it works quite well. So back to Zealot Yellow here. We're going to do those bone structures on the wings. And bear with me here. We're going to go over that blue because Zealot Yellow, I think if you remember the Spitballer, I used a little of that over Camo Green and that Plasmatic Bolt. And it creates a cool kind of green-yellow effect. So bug wings are, you know, they're kind of that iridescent clear, you see different colors in the sunlight kind of thing. So I guess I was going for that idea of there might be hints of blue in there when you look at it. You might see some greens and yellows. For the Goo Sacks on the bottom, on the first one here, I go with Camo Green, knowing I'm going to come back and hit that with the Zealot Yellow to try to create some highlights on there. Of the two, I think I like the second one better, but this effect was okay too. So I'm going to show you the full variety of both just so you can see how they come out. Now you'll see I put some of the Camo Green in those deep kind of grooves and pits on the back there a little too, and I did that with the idea that I would kind of wet blend those in with the Zealot Yellow as well. Works better on model number 2, but the effect was okay here. It did meld in with the yellow some and let me kind of get a greenish yellow around those areas. So there is no real fast and hard rule when it comes to me glazing over one speed paint with another. I probably let the Camo Green dry, I don't know, 30 30-40 minutes. It looked dry in appearance before I started glazing over it with the Zealot Yellow. So it still reactivates just fine and helps me to rub at certain areas to create more yellowy streaks and highlights coming down that goo bag towards the opening at the bottom. For the eyes, I went with Purple Alchemy. It's kind of a purpley red. It looked okay for this, similar to the game art. So somewhere along the way, I picked up a bottle of this effects paint, Disgusting Slime, from Army Painter Speedpaints. It's part of their war paint line, I guess. Just more standard acrylic. It's unique. It almost looks like a weird yellowish pea soup color. Wasn't as green as I'd hoped. I think it's got probably some gloss mediums in it because it comes out thick and shiny. So I think the intent is if you have like a pipe and it's dripping some slime out, you kind of puddle it in there and, droop it out and just kind of let it dry like that, and it'll create that effect. They have some YouTubes on the Army Painter side about it. So I tried it. Something different. And because I can't leave good enough alone, I, in the end, decided to do all Zealot Yellow over this guy's shell on his back, that Carapace piece. Second one will stick to more of that photograph from the game, but I wanted to kind of incorporate that full Zealot Yellow-Green mix with this one. So, Goo Bomber number 2, you're going to have a little deja vu here at the start, but stick with me. It's going somewhere, and I like the end result, so hang on for the ride, okay? I start out again with the wings being that Magic Blue Plasmatic Bolt 1-to-1 mix. We then once again do the Gravelord Grey on that whole back carapace. Now this time for the Goo Sacks and some of the pits and grooves along the body under that carapace area, I went with pure Plasmatic Bolt. It almost started to look like the ice biome version from the game, so there's a thought too if you want to go with the frosty version of the Goo Bomber. You can do some Plasmatic. While I start out with a particular color scheme on most of my projects, sometimes they just kind of shape themselves as they go. So that is why you end up seeing me paint over a color with a color some of the time, or do some experiments with blending. This is the case here. Pallid Bone over the carapace. I saw the blue in the wings and the blue on the body I was painting in, and thought, how will this look with Pallid Bone offset by the blue wings? So there you go. Again, as I mentioned before, I was hitting those grooves, the divots, all the little deep areas with extra Plasmatic Bolt on the back side here. Try to darken up those trenches if they didn't get enough the first time. You're going to use that to blend here shortly. So as I put on Zealot Yellow here, you will see that blue reactivate. I was putting in the deep recesses there, and it does indeed create a nice darkish green. Mixes in a little green swirl here and there with the yellow, but I think it's a lot closer to that in-game photo than the first attempt was. So that told me I was on the right track here, and it helped to make the Goo Bomber bags here look even better as well in a moment. So as you can see, the Goo Sack there It's popping nice and bright yellow as a highlight as I apply this glaze of Zealot Yellow over that Plasmatic Bolt. Those deeper cracks where I put extra turns into a nice green, reactivates, blends out a little bit. So it was the effect I wanted, and I was very happy with the outcome on this part. And I took another look at the in-game photo, and they just leave that top part of the carapace kind of up to the point of the wings in that gray brown color. So I decided to paint over the back end of him with the Zealot Yellow as well and blend that in. I decided to cover up the Pallid Bone with Zealot Yellow. The good part about the video, you can see the blue scheme with the Pallid Bone, and you'll see the after result as well, so more color ideas, right? I first tried to kind of trace around the wings, outer edges, kind of thinking I'd have blue in the middle and some of those little squares, and then just green on the outside, but I don't know, wasn't feeling it, so I did end up glazing over the whole wing like the first one with that to create that greenish yellow effect. So for the goo on the second one, I didn't really like the color of that disgusting slime. The consistency was cool on the first one, but it just wasn't the right color. So I just went with orc skin, 2 drops orc skin to 1 drop of the speed paint medium, just to thin it up just a hair. Came out pretty good though. I like the color. You can see a picture of the in-game stuff on the ground versus that, and it's pretty close. It would pass from 2 feet away on the table for sure. For the final Mactera, we have the Mactera Spawn. He's just a little mosquito of a guy. For the little underbelly part, I went with just straight up Zealot Yellow. Sand Golem also worked well when I experimented with it. Something yellowy brown. For the main portion of the body, all your arms, legs, backside, I just went with a Camo Green from Army Painter Speedpaint. That seems to be equivalent to what the in-game photo was. Not a lot going on in this model. The wings kind of have a blue tint to them in the in-game photos, so I grabbed some Runic Gray. I do some Crusader skin for in the mouth, and there's like 2 ribs on his sides right towards his front, and I try to do those with that color. The side shot from the in-game kind of shows that being a more redder pink color, so tried to mimic it. The rock, pretty standard for this quick and easy series. It is Gravelord Grey. You know, the game's got all colors of rocks though, so whatever color you want there. And then finally the teeth, if you get something on there, just some matte white.
Rock and stone, yeah!
And here we are, the completed Goo Bombers and Mactera Spawn. The first one being the disgusting slime for the bottom goo, and it had the Camo Green with the Zealot Yellow for the Goo Sacks, and I ended up doing all yellow down the back. Then the other Goo Bomber with the Orc Skin Goo, and doing that Plasmatic Bolt under the Zealot Yellow. I much preferred the greens and reactivation effects with that versus the Camo Green for this case. And like I said, the Spawn, that one's just, it's basic. That'll be one of your quickest models in the game. I think painting wise, if you just keep it simple, there's just not a lot there. I wouldn't invest a lot into it. Also got a picture here of my little test model where I did the Pallid Bone with blue for reference, just so you can see that color pattern again. So next week will probably be the Warden. I meant to do it this week. The game was supposed to get here on Tuesday, and well, that didn't happen. Thanks FedEx. No updates, so who knows. As long as I get it eventually. I got enough of these printed, I can finish out the series here in the meantime, so hey, if anything, it's more time to work on videos before I get distracted by the board game. As always, thanks for my returning viewers, thanks for the comments and the sharing of ideas and colors. You know, I do this for the aspect of I didn't see a guide out there. I'm still a fairly new painter. I thought, let's do this. I'll give a good honest try at putting something out that will hopefully give people ideas, maybe even give you a few tips or something along the way. So these videos are purely for, you know, sharing and helping the painter community. They are not to win art awards by any means. This is for table ready stuff. So again, I appreciate you guys that have subscribed. Got a few more this week. Mood Publishing put me on their page, which was awesome. At least it's a little validation that some people are noting this stuff and it's helping a few of you. So that's all it was for. As always, thanks. Talk to you guys soon.